All right. I've seen this on my timeline. Holy 7 million views. Jesus Christ. Me and everyone else, I guess, has seen them. I'll let the clip speak for itself. I don't want to prime anyone for people who haven't seen it. So let's just watch.
It's not comfortable.
This is my perfect example. It's like, okay, I collab with Lacey. Lacey makes some homophobic jokes sometimes that I am not comfortable with the homophobic jokes Lacey has made. Lacey knows that he can't make those jokes around me. That does not mean that I am homophobic, believe it or not, everybody.
Yes.
Like, you are not who you associate with. Like, shut the fuck up. You're like, you don't build bridges by burning them. That's not how it works.
Why is one of them 4 pixels? Bro, great question. I don't know why. I don't know why. They must have like censored themselves beforehand. They were like, I can just tell this clip is not going to go well. It's not going to go over well on Twitter. Blurs myself. Okay. I'm trying to decide if I want to say my piece right now and then keep going and show some more stuff, or if I want to watch a different clip with you guys. Because I think a big part of why this is rubbing people the wrong way is the way that it's said. And this is like the most important thing, especially like if you come from a position of privilege. So, for example, being wealthy, being white, being straight, being cis. I think you should be a lot more cautious with how you speak on issues that don't directly impact you, because it's very easy to come off as being like entitled or come off like you're talking down to other people. And I think it's a lot harder for people to view you as an ally when it feels like you're telling them like, hey, to the gays in my audience, I am not homophobic, you fucking idiots. Which is not what she said, to be clear, but that's the vibe that people got. So I want to show this other clip from Valkyrie, which kind of explains what I'm talking about a little bit better.
I did tell her, I was like, cutie, I do think your tone doesn't help because you inherently sound really angry all the time. You sound really, and she knows. I was like, you're very blunt. I think it's
because Cutie is like, she kind of always has like resting bitch face, which I'm jealous of. I wish I had resting bitch face. But that in combination with like really monotone and being blunt means that certain sentences come off incredibly aggressive. And especially when you're coming from a position, again, of privilege, talking to people who don't have as much privilege, it's very easy for that to put a bad taste in people's mouth. To the person who said being cis is a privilege, yes, absolutely. Are you kidding me? 100%. The fact that you don't have to worry about whether or not your healthcare will cover your gender affirming care. The fact that you don't have to worry about getting fired from your work or being mistreated from your work or being sexually assaulted or being harassed because you are not being perceived as trans. Absolutely. There was that story of that woman who worked at Walmart who got fired, and she's a cis woman, by the way, who got fired for being too tall and manly looking because she went to the women's bathroom. We've had how many interviews now, or like how many like behind the scenes like conversations with employers that say that they don't want to hire gender non-conforming people because they don't want to deal with the nightmare, quote unquote, because they can't get people to just use the right pronouns. Like the idea that you don't have privilege if you're cis is nonsensical. You absolutely have cis. This again goes back to the conversation about like privilege is the stuff that you don't see. You don't see how being trans can negatively impact your life because of bigotry. So you don't see how your life could be more difficult. That's where the privilege is. This is just a privilege that you don't have to worry about.
I do think your tone doesn't help because you inherently sound really angry all the time. You sound really, and she knows. I was like, you're very blunt. I think it's your tone, you're blunt, and it just comes off poorly, especially,
and this part.
I was like, you're also the whitest woman I know. And it also is just, you being so white. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. But I know her. I know her heart. It's just because she wants to help. But I feel like there's ways we can do it better.
Like she really is the whitest woman you know. Like she really says, can I come over and look at you? Can I come over and look at you like this? Capital W white. And I don't think she would disagree. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think Cutie would disagree that she is capital W white. And I think like, again, it's the very last part, like this part where it's like, it feels like she's talking down to the queer people in her audience or the queer people who watch her, or the queer people who saw this clip, where like she's telling them what homophobia looks like.
can't make those jokes around me. That does not mean that I am homophobic, believe it or not, everybody.
Right. And it's like, I think that tone comes off a little condescending, especially for queer people who have been told so many times before, I'm not homophobic, I just hate this. I'm not homophobic, I just would hate if my kid was. And that's not what she's saying, but the vibe is the same. You know what I mean? So I want to talk about that really quickly, that presentation matters a lot, that you can be sending the same message, but if you present it differently and you give different presentation, it will be perceived differently. And I think for a lot of people, they hated the presentation of this. And it's similar, I would say, to like Pokimane talking about like being rich and her saying, well, no, yeah, I'm rich, but I'm not like rich. And a lot of people who obviously don't have wealth in their life got really pissed off at that. Because it's like, what do you mean you're not fucking rich? And it's like, well, her packaging of that statement was wrong. In that instance, what Pokey was trying to say was, I am not wealthy enough that I can enact legislative change. I'm not wealthy enough that I can lobby all of Congress to do whatever the fuck I want. Like, I don't have that type of wealth. The type of wealth that Bezos has, the type of wealth that Elon has, the type of wealth that Zuckerberg has, that they can just enact as much change as they want and worsen everyone's life. She knows that she has more money than most people will ever see in their lifetime, in their generation's lifetime. And somehow still, there are people with so much more money that she, relative to those people, can't make the world better. That's the comment that she was making. And it was within, and it's like, here's the other thing. It's like, that was within the context of like how American civilization is so fucked because mega billionaires can just control all of our politics. It wasn't just her being like, I'm not rich. It was like, yeah, America's so fucked because like these fucking billionaire pieces of shit just want to make the world worse for literally everybody else. And there's nothing we can fucking do about it other than like, there's not nothing we can do. But we don't have the same power that they do because they can single-handedly just make insurance companies a total shit show for the rest of us. So like, but people only see that clip. People only see that like 30 seconds or whatever. And they're like, fuck this bitch Pokey. She's just talking about how she's not rich, blah, blah, blah. When meanwhile, there's a lot of other context in that clip, right? So then there's this. And I think I want to start with what I think is one of the important factors, which is I think that the vibe of the clip is wrong. The vibe of the clip is like, I'm going to tell you as a straight woman what is and what is not homophobia. And it's like, girl. Girl. I don't think that the intentions were wrong. And I think, and I'm gonna give the good faith interpretation, I'm gonna give the bad faith interpretation, and then I'm gonna give my opinion. And my opinion aligns pretty closely with the stuff that I saw, a lot of the stuff that I saw in Casey Tron's tweet. But her position is if you don't engage at all with entire groups of the internet, it doesn't mean that these people are magically gonna become less homophobic and less bigoted. That's not what's gonna happen, right? The hope is that if I hold their feet to the fire and show them, no, you can't make these jokes around me and you shouldn't be making these jokes at all, but I will not tolerate it in my vicinity, the hope is that that shaming might force people into being better overall, right? Like, I think that that's the intention behind what she's saying. Those are not the words that she said. The hope is that I can rehabilitate you or that I can at least show you this is not okay around me. But I want to believe that that was the intention of what she was trying to say. It wasn't, yeah, you can be racist, but just like, don't tell me. You can be homophobic, but just don't tell me. It was, and the reality is it's like, I don't know. I know a couple people had this sort of experience with like the R word, like the R slur, like a decade ago, where a lot of people who feel really neutrally about the word decided to stop saying it because one person in their life was negatively being impacted, right? Because one person around them said, I really don't like that word. Can you not use that word around me? And then when you start like moderating your speech in front of one person, it starts becoming a habit that you push into other aspects of your life. Because it's very hard to just like have these friends that you act this way with and you make sure to never slip up in these ways and then it never leaks over into anything else in your life, right? That the hope is and the goal is, and in some cases, it is the case that if you can force someone or push someone in the right direction in one aspect of their life or when they hang out with you, it'll leak over into other aspects of their life and with other friendships in their life, right? Now, this is why I go back to saying that's not what she said, though. I don't like what she said. What she said was saying you aren't who you hang out with is the most incorrect thing. You absolutely are. If you hang around bullies, you're a bystander, just as bad. I think that that's a little far, but I agree with this, not sentiment, but I understand why people are frustrated with the sentiment, if that makes sense. Because like, girl, what do you mean you're not who you hang out with? You absolutely are who you hang out with, right? Now, it doesn't mean that you endorse every single position that they hold. And this goes back to what she said versus what I want to believe she meant, right? Now, if you hang out with people who are not homophobic, but they make homophobic jokes, and you tell them this is not acceptable, I will not allow you to do this shit. Do not do this shit in front of me, and I'm not fucking joking. I'm serious. You should take this shit seriously, bro. Like, I don't know why you don't take it seriously. It's not funny. And that's the conversation you have with that person. That's a very different conversation from, well, just because I hang out with someone who makes homophobic jokes all the time doesn't mean I'm homophobic, which I think is what people got from the clip. I think people saw that and they were like, what the hell? In my opinion, I think like this clip is just, it's like unfortunate because I think she just chooses the wording in the worst way possible in like 3 different situations. When in reality, it's like if you're telling someone and you're telling them, you can't do this, I am telling you, you can't act this way, you're having the conversation, which is different than not having the conversation. If you hang out with someone and you never have that conversation, then you are who you hang out with. Absolutely. If you hang out with someone who makes racist jokes all the time or makes homophobic jokes all the time and you never tell them anything and you're like, well, I'm not that person. No, like that's just, no, wait, you are. But if you tell them, no, I'm serious, like this is important to me, you're trying to have this conversation. I also don't think she should be getting more hate than the actual people being homophobic. Twitch allows this on their platform. Twitch doesn't get close enough to hate. So then this is like, and then this is like the kind of the natural conclusion that I think this conversation has to reach, which is there's this problem. Oh man, it's so hard to talk about these issues in a way that validates everyone's feelings. And because they are valid, but it's an unfortunate reality where like the people engaging in the bad behavior get way more flack than the people trying, or at least saying they're trying to make the place better. So like, I don't see anything ever about like, I don't watch any of the Phase Boys, so I didn't even know that Lacey made homophobic jokes. Genuinely, I don't go to any of these parties. I don't fucking know these people. I don't talk to them. I don't watch their streams. So I don't know anything about it. I genuinely didn't know this. But why is it that I've never seen like, I feel like I've seen so much more talking about someone who's saying, I'm telling this person they have to act accordingly around me because I don't tolerate it. And I've seen people get more upset at this than anyone getting upset at like Lacey. It's like, I think that there is this desire to keep, I think that there is a very pure and like noble goal to keep these spaces clear and free of like fake activists and fake progressives to the point where we punish rather than educate people who at least are saying they're trying. No, it's not fake outrage. Absolutely not. It is not fake outrage. I don't want anyone to think that I'm saying that it's fake outrage. I think the outrage is genuine, and I think people are genuinely hurt by this because everyone's known someone who says, well, they just can't do it around me, right? But the crazy thing is like the amount of hate that I've seen Cutie get is like 10 billion times higher than the hate that I've seen Lacey get for doing the homophobic shit. Which is like, wait, what the fuck? Wait, listen, I'm down to criticize both people because I don't think Cutie is free of criticism. I don't even think that she thinks she's free of criticism. I know she's acted in ways because she's been dealing with harassment right now. And it's like, I don't want to get into 10 different meta conversations about how to deal with harassment, but you guys get the point that I'm making. But we're giving so much smoke to one person who is, in my opinion, acting, they didn't say the words that needed to be said in the way that they needed to be said, but they're not focusing on like criticizing, for example, Twitch for allowing it or criticizing Lacey like in this at the same level, at the same heat. So I would be tempted to agree with you on this position that like I feel like it's because people expect more of her because she presents herself as woke or progressive. But the problem is like I've seen the same people that say that say she's not the right person to educate people like Lacey. She's not progressive enough to even do the educating. And I'm like, wait, so which is it? Is it that like she's woke enough that you expect her to have the right positions on all these things and be able to talk about them in a responsible and effective way and hold herself to this standard? Or that she can't do these things because she's not effective enough and she's not woke enough? It's like, is she just so perfectly positioned on this narrow line? Like this is kind of goes back to so many conversations that we've had about leftist discourse in the space, which is I really want to have effective conversations where we push people in the right direction and we don't punish people for them going in the right direction, right? Like obviously, again, once someone is proven over and over and over and over and over again that they're not going to learn, yeah, at that point, I don't really give a shit, right? I don't know that Cutie has proven that she doesn't care about her audiences. I don't feel like Cutie has proven that she doesn't give a shit about any criticisms or trying to make the space a little bit better. Like I feel like she has tried to present herself and has tried to affect change that makes the space better. And so, well, how, where, how? She got a lot of flack for not having a category for creating a space for non-male streamers in the Streamer Awards category. And she put in a category specifically for gender non-conforming creators that are not a majority on the platform. It's like, this is a very like delicate balance. And this is like a very thin line that I feel like everyone on the left has to toe carefully for like the best outcomes, which is like, if on the one hand, you don't want to allow everyone to join the left and call themselves progressives when they overlook bad behavior, right? Because then at that point, you just end up with like, the Nazi bar. And on the other side of that narrow line that you have to toe, you don't want to have the left be so purity maxing and so punishing that nobody wants to call themselves a progressive because nobody wants to be held to that standard because it's an obscenely high standard, right? That you have to act perfectly every single time and respond perfectly to criticism every single time. Because I don't think that so like being upset at what she said, I don't think is purity testing. I think you're allowed to be upset about what she said. I think it's how we respond to this and what we ask of someone when they engage in this behavior. Because I think it's important to moderate the space that is leftism and to moderate the space that is progressivism. And I think her words were really hurtful to people in the queer community, saying like, girly pop, this is not homophobia. I think sits badly in a lot of people's mouths. But I would much rather like educate and inform and improve rather than tear down. Does that explain what I'm trying to say? Because you know what I think would be the dopest thing? People saying, okay, so wait, so you're doing all of this to educate Lacey. Okay, bring him on stream. Bring him on stream and talk to him about it. Listen, you say that that's why you're doing it? Have a conversation with him on stream. But I've not seen anyone say that. I've just seen people say like, disappointed in cutie, fuck you, cutie. It's like, whoa, wait, can we give her a chance? Can we just give her a chance to like use her platform for good like she's saying she's going to? Why not just not associate? Wouldn't it be better to make creators that already exist on this platform more progressive instead of just letting them stew in their fucking bigotry and let their audiences grow larger and larger and larger? What? Isn't it better to do that? Let them fester? Yeah, it sure worked for Asmon. Who the fuck tried with Asmon? Who associated and tried to work on Asmon? He doesn't leave his house. He's an asocial freak. Like, what? The phase boys actually like hanging out with other people and talking to other people and going outside and being invited to things and whatever. Oh, Hassan kind of tried. Oh, sure. What? Like having the conversation about Palestine instead of just shitting on him? Would you guys have preferred? Do you think it would have been a better outcome to just shit on him for Palestine and not have the conversation? Also, like, I don't know. I think it's I think people who are like asocial freaks who don't leave their house, who don't care about other people's opinions of them, who live with fucking rat alarm clocks and don't have the shame, the social shame to not talk about it, are very different than people who host parties and events and invite people and want to socialize and want to be part of community and want to be part of something larger than that. Like I think that we can't, like, it's hard to compare these two groups of people. One of these doesn't care at all about not having any friends or family in their life, and the other one does. The other problem too is that I'm kind of like, I refuse to exist in like the doomer pill reality, and I think you have to always try. I think you have to always try. And if it fails, then you give up. Like, I think it was the right decision for Hassan to try and fix Asmongold. And it failed, so that's it. No one can associate with him. That's fair. That's valid. I think Cutie can try and rehabilitate and like push like people like Lacey away from making so many homophobic jokes. If it fails, it fails, but like, I think she should try. I see some people saying she's not trying though, but then I saw other people saying she has tried.
Wait, PR stands for public relations?
Yes.
What?
So, yeah, that's a good start. So this is how the public sees you.
No way.
Like, okay, so imagine this. You have a pie, like your favorite pie in the whole wide world, okay?
Apple
pie. Okay.
Apple pie. And there's, unfortunately, there's some dog in it.
Oh.
Do you still eat the apple pie?
I would cut around the dog and eat the good parts.
I would just throw it
No,
away.
I wouldn't. I'd throw the whole apple pie out, actually.
Yeah.
'Cause
Right.
it's dog
This is the person we're talking about making homophobic jokes. Bro's first response was, I would cut around the dog poop. I think the problem is too, it's like, I make a very big distinction between evil and stupid. And I'm sorry if this is rude to Lacey. He's dumb as rocks. He is. You can't cure stupidity? What the? Oh, you can. You can cure. I was like, I thought you said you can't. I was like, yes, you can. What do you mean? I don't know. I'd have to watch all of this to see what this conversation looks like. Right.
Okay. All right.
Damn.
So to make your chat more approachable, because this is why it's important, you guys. If my chat is a safe space, if Valkyrie's chat is a safe space, if Pokemon's chat's a safe space, why would they want to go on your stream when this is where your chat reacts?
Makes
Because
sense.
they like him
See?
for him.
You know, it makes sense. I see what she's saying. I see what she's saying.
Because if I'm hanging out with you, that means I condone everything you do. Is how it's seen in the public, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we can think different, and I can still think you're a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like, you know, we do different things, you know? And that's okay. It's okay we do different things, but we have to just make it a safe space.
Adam, thanks for the 5 gifted, man. I
For
appreciate
everybody.
the 5 gifted.
Okay, I have an idea. Solution. Idea number 1. Kiss
Oh my
your
God.
homies. I need you guys to either put your money where your mouth is, start kissing your homies. You could go to Drag to Brunch with Austin show.
What's that?
I think you'd love it.
What is it?
And they do brunch, and you give money, and they dance, and they sing.
Who
and
dances? Girls?
Drag queens.
What is that?
That is men dressed as women.
Yeah, we're gonna pass on that one.
Okay?
I think I'm busy that day.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to slip up and say something.
Then just keep your mouth shut.
Okay.
I respect people, everybody, no matter what. But personally, it's just not my type of cup of tea.
It's not your type of event. Or I had a great idea
Oh, I got a fatty.
where you two do a sexy car wash
Okay.
and all the money goes to the Trevor Project. Hotline specifically for suicidal LGBTQ plus people that have no one to talk to.
Okay.
A really good charity.
Okay.
And so, just some options, okay? You don't have to do any of
Okay.
them. But I'm just trying to help your chat be more of a safe space for everything.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I do think
It's over.
we've made no progress on that specifically, but that's okay. We tried, okay?
Okay, I'm changing my opinion slightly. There are funnels, chat. All right, there are funnels. Here's where we're going with this now. Those are not savable. Those people are too stupid. My concern is if you purity test so hard, what happens is dumb fucks like Lacey don't actually become more progressive because no progressive people ever want to interact with them. So they just continue being total pieces of shit or like whatever morons to an increasingly more right-wing audience, right? I want to prevent that. That is my goal. My goal is to make it so that they have any progressive people in their life that maybe shame them just a little bit, so they don't become complete, total fucking right-wingers. That's what I want. The truth is come out. I don't want the people with some of the largest audiences on Twitch to be so radioactive that no progressive person ever interacts with them, so they just become more and more and more annoying. Dude, he's not platforming them. They have like 10 times the audience that she does. I can save him. You can't save him. You can save his audience though. Because the problem is when people like Lacey, who have no interaction with progressive people and have no interaction with queer people, no interaction with any groups of minorities, right? It's not that they become more right-wing. It's that they have so few voices around them explaining to them why their actions hurt other people because they become so radioactive no one can touch them, to the point where their stream just gets worse and worse and worse and worse for like progressing social values, instead of potentially having even one or two voices trying to get them to have the right opinions on some things to try and push their audiences in the right direction. That like, hey, we're bringing on this person that we respect. Here's Cutie telling us that this is bad and wrong, and we trust her because she's smarter than us because we're fucking idiots. Hey, everyone in the audience, you shouldn't be homophobic. Being homophobic is bad. Hey, everyone in the audience, you shouldn't be this. X, Y, and Z. The problem is holding Cutie accountable here and holding everyone else accountable here just means no progressive people should ever interact with any phase people, and the phase people can get as shitty as they want to be, and we won't ever reach any of their audiences ever. If that's the world you guys think is best, if you think it's better to have no progressive voices whatsoever, talking in the ears of stupid people to reach their audiences, puppeteering these people a little bit to make their audiences care a little bit about progressive issues, or at least forcing them into saying, yeah, obviously, like homophobia is bad, obviously transphobia is bad, blah, 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 blah. If that's what you guys genuinely think, I don't know. I don't know how to agree or disagree with that. I don't think that that's the best way forward. I think the best way forward is to have some people at least try and shove these people in the right direction, or at least their audiences. Forget about them. But the problem is anytime anyone tries to do it, people say, well, that person shouldn't even be associating at all. How dare they call themselves a progressive? They're associating. So then I have to say, so who's going to do it? Okay, Cutie's not allowed to do it. So who? All right, let's say Cutie is now barred. She is barred from curing the Phase Boys' community's audience from being bigoted. Who are we sending? Who do we have that we can send right now? The problem is that everybody is not going to meet that bar, which is why I said I'm changing my stance that it's not that you can reach these people, it's that maybe you can reach their audiences, and that's why we have like funnel systems. This looks suspicious. No, obviously not Nick Fuentes. If you don't think that there's a distinction between the fucking neo-Nazi Nick Fuentes saying that we should have a white supremacist state and Lacey, who doesn't know what the Trevor Project is, who doesn't know what a drag queen is, who doesn't know what a tariff is, if you think that there is no difference between those two people, you are fucking fried. You are actually so cooked it's over. Stop calling it a Diva Cup. Stop. That the goal is that maybe we can get some progressive viewers to see like the most baseline progressive opinions from someone like Cutie, and then maybe some of these people can get into watching slightly more progressive people because they're like, oh yeah, it's okay to be a drag queen, it's okay to be gay, it's okay to be trans. Okay, send maybe some of these people to a slightly more progressive person, and then slightly more progressive person, and then slightly more progressive person. Because realistically, I promise you, none of the people who watch Lacey are exactly ready to watch Hassan. Okay, I don't think they're quite at that part. I think if your primary form of entertainment is watching this guy yell about treasure trains, I don't know that you're quite there yet to watching Hassan talk about politics. Wait, Lacey is the I don't know about tariffs guy. Jason seems to be the most open to these ideas, so maybe the change can come from within. Yeah, but who do you think would also shove Jason into the right positions or like slightly more correct positions? One chatter says, I spent the first 20 years of my life as a far-right evangelical. If it wasn't for the hundreds of small experiences with good people, I wouldn't even call leftists. I wouldn't be a leftist today. Why are we trying to stop people from having those experiences? The problem that I have is like, if we tell Cutie, you can't, we hereby as leftists, as the leftist organization, we hereby decree that you are no longer allowed to engage with any of the phase boys. Do you know how easy it would be? You know how like I could easily farm every leftist right now by saying, this is honestly disgusting behavior from Cutie and I'm disappointed in her. She should be fucking disgusted with herself. Do you know how fucking easy that would be? It would be so fucking easy. It would be so easy to do that right now. But I'm capable of recognizing, okay, what does that actually fucking accomplish? What does it accomplish to tell her she cannot interact with these people? We hereby decree it. Now, I want to be very clear. I think the majority of people talking about this just have genuine concerns about, one, the words that she said in that clip, which came off as very condescending, and it felt like she didn't give a shit about queer voices. And two, felt very dismissive, which is valid. And those are valid criticisms. And we have to be able to criticize people who brand themselves as progressive. You shouldn't be allowed to brand yourself as progressive and then never accept criticism ever. I want to talk about this. I think I just don't like the teaching being framed as content. It's going to make it seem like a joke to the audience that needs to learn the most. Did you guys ever have like presentations at school and they had to make the presentation seem like a fun joke and be all memes and stuff so that the kids could pay attention? That's what's happening. You know when the science teacher would do fun experiments instead of making you read the textbook? That's what's happening. She is trying to create fun content that keeps people engaged. She's trying to cater to iPad babies. She has to make it memey and entertaining. But it is gross behavior. Okay, so that's my point is, if your perspective is this is gross behavior, I don't want to watch this is disgusting, then this isn't for you. She is at a part of the funnel that you are not at. You're past that point in the funnel. I would hope you'd be past that point in the funnel if you're watching this stream. And I really don't want anyone to take any of this as me saying that the criticisms are not valid. I don't want anyone to think this is me saying that it's all rad libs and woke scolds and wokes of the day. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think she butchered her words in that clip and I think it came off really, really poorly and very condescending. That is not at any point what I'm saying. I think it is very important to have criticism in leftist spaces. It is very important to have. Because with no criticism, then you just might as well just fucking open the door to the Nazis, dude. We have to have criticism. Absolutely. I think that the problem is that sometimes people criticize without thinking of a solution or without thinking of how they want the space to be impacted in a more positive way. And that the criticisms come from, it sucks that like facts over feelings became such a thing that like people's feelings don't become valid anymore, because I wanted to say people's reaction to this is emotional, but I don't want it to, but that sounds very negative. Like it feels like I'm making fun of people, but that's not what my intention is, because how you feel about something matters. If someone says something that's insulting to you, that matters. So I'm saying like people are reacting to this in a valid emotional way because what she said is, I think, harmful. And it's, I think, demeaning to people's feelings in a way that matters, because I'm not part of that fucking fact over feelings nonsense. I don't know how to say that without making it sound negative. Oh, without thinking of what they want. So like, I think if you criticize someone, this is my 2 cents. This is my opinion. There should be a goal in mind, right? It should be, hey, I don't like that you're doing this and I don't like the words that you chose here and I don't like what you said here and I don't like the sentiment. What I want is X, Y, and Z, and this is how I want you to do it. Like, I think proper criticism is constructive and tries to enact positive change for the left, for progressive values. What's the funnel leading to? Can no one answer me this? If the answer is the Democratic Party, we are fucked. I don't know how you took that when I literally said the goal is none of the people that are currently watching Lacey streams are ready to watch someone like Hassan's stream. The goal is that maybe you can get them to be more progressive and more progressive and more progressive to the point where they can actually sit down and watch Hassan over Asmongold for election coverage. The goal is to funnel people towards the left and towards progressive values and towards socialist values. And you're not going to do that if we're too afraid to engage with them completely and entirely. But guess what? Maybe a lot of people that are like, you know what, actually, I see Asmongold sitting at like 100,000 viewers for this election cycle, and I see Hassan sitting. Hassan is like friends with Cutie. Cutie's friends with Lacey. You know what? Sure, I'll watch this. And maybe they'll get like a smidge. Maybe they'll get like a little taste. Maybe they'll get like a little bit of exposure to progressive values over like fucking Mold Man. If you start someone off watching fucking Bad and Banana videos, that person is going to be scarred for life, dog. To be clear, I'm at the point where like I think she should apologize for like the way that this clip sounds, because it sounds like she's diminishing and not almost like she doesn't care about queer voices. And I think that maybe they can, honestly, I think she can use this momentum to do like a stream, like a big fundraising stream with the Phase Boys. It's about taking something and then like getting something valuable out of it. I see your point, but then what if we keep conceding and not drawing red lines under the guise of a united front? Then we're the ones who are getting titled. First of all, I said draw a red line. Someone literally said, oh, so what, we're going to allow Nick Fuentes? I literally said draw a red line. There's a very big distinction. And if you can't spot the difference between an idiot and an evil racist piece of shit or an evil homophobic piece of shit, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. I feel like I can spot it pretty easily. I think the guy who says he doesn't know what a fucking tariff is and doesn't know what a drag queen is pretty much clearly a fucking idiot versus someone who's evil, knows all these things, and then consistently insists on being a piece of shit, right? So there absolutely needs to be a red line there. 100% needs to be a red line. And I didn't say concede. When the fuck did I say concede? I said absolutely you should hold people's feet to the fire and tell them, hey, this is unacceptable. You shouldn't speak to queer people like this when they have valid concerns and genuine concerns about your treatment of X, Y, and Z and your speech of X, Y, and Z and X. Like, absolutely. At no point, and I've said this multiple times, but I'll keep saying it. I do not want anyone's takeaway from this conversation to be, stop criticizing Cutie. No, keep criticizing Cutie. But use that criticism to start up momentum to get her to do valuable things with her platform. She has these connections. Get her to do something with them. Tell her like, hey, can you I don't know, man, can you get them to do like a fundraiser for queer people? Like for the Trevor Project, can you actually force that? I'm cool with you associating with these people if you're genuinely trying to make the space better or you're trying to like reach some of their audience. But I want to see something. I want to see something of substance. I think that that's super are you kidding me? You guys have to understand, I'm a very goals-oriented person, okay? Now, the end never justifies the means, obviously. The means are just as important as the ends, always and forever. But I'm goal-oriented, and I want to get to those goals in the best way possible, in the most empathetic way possible, and I want to enact change that helps everyone in a way that's got some motion on it. I think folks like Lacey are as content brain as they come across, challenge them online as a bit of circus. Yeah, then make the content entertaining, make it as content brain as you can, and still uphold these fundraisers and talk about these issues. The thing is, with content brain people, they're down to do anything that brings in views. So just find a way to bring in views, talking about progressive ideals, fundraising for progressive ideals, and pushing people towards progressivism. That's like the best case scenario with someone is content brained, because then you could just use them for content. So to sneak into Trojan horse, you're like, look, this stream would get you to 100,000 viewers. Don't notice that I'm telling your audience that being homophobic is bad and that I'm fundraising for good causes. Like, that's the goal. The goal is to Trojan horse their ass. Are you kidding me? That's not what the presentation was, though. Oh, this one, I didn't say that that's what this was. I didn't say that that's what this was. I said that was like, I literally changed my mind off of that video. And I said we should demand more. Yes, let's force our ideals on others, correct? Yes. New here. What are the political and social views of this streamer? Fun fact, everyone is under Trump. How's your cuck chair? Bro, you've been sitting in the stream so valuetained since 8 a.m. you haven't been able to leave. You're sitting in the cuck chair. You disagree with my positions, but you are so entertained by this random lady on the internet. You're like, I just want to turn off this stream so bad, but why is she weirdly so entertaining? She's really capturing me as a viewer. Fuck. She's doing exactly what she's saying Cutie should do to other viewers, to me. Fuck, I'm getting owned, but you're the cuck chair. No. Like, you are actually sitting in the cuck chair, proving my point perfectly. Thank you so much. Thank you for proving it. You made my life so much easier. Thank you. Oh my God. Literally, do you guys see what I mean? This is what I'm saying. We need to reach these people exactly this way. This guy who's like, you're just background noise. Like, listening to left. Yeah. If you're so stupid, you don't understand that listening to background noise never impacts your opinions. If you don't think that listening to background noise will impact your opinions, you're a bigger idiot than you look like, and you look like a huge idiot. That is the best way to get people onto your side. Be the background noise in their ears and eventually reach them bit by bit until they eventually change some of their stupid fucking positions. That's the goal. You are the goal. You are the blueprint. Now, I'm not going to be able to reach this guy because I've made fun of him too much. But the goal is to subliminal everybody else, you know? Sissy hypno or whatever. I'm kidding. That was just a joke. Moving on. That's the only position that I'm trying to talk about. Okay, and this has been my, anyone who's tuned into this broadcast knows this has always been my opinion. I never want to silence criticism, and I never want to silence people talking about things that genuinely impact them and negatively impact them, because it's important. Like, you can't just tell leftists, be quiet, shut up. I'm speaking now. Ew. I think we have enough room in our hearts to shit on people like Ms. Kiff and shit on people like Tectone and whatever, but also criticize in a constructive way people like Cutie and tell her, like, hey, you should do this with your platform. Hey, maybe it'd be productive if you did this. I don't think relentlessly shitting on Cutie is going to positively impact anyone on the left. I don't think that does anything. But I think we can push these people in the right direction to get more out of them. I think if you're saying you want to push them, I want to see some fucking results. I want to see some results. I want to see you enact this thing that you're talking about in a way that's meaningful that I can't ignore.